welcome to a new episode of the 90s Metal Gamer, where we stay hydrated and play video games. I'm sure most people all over the world know who Mario is by now. Even if you're not a gamer, you at least know of him. Especially now more so than ever because of the recent release of the new Super Mario Galaxy movie. I honestly have no idea how Nintendo managed to keep Mario relevant even in 2026. The character was introduced in the 1980s. While other characters have seemingly faded out, such as Star Fox, Mario has thrived. Well, I really wouldn't say that Star Fox is completely out of the fight just yet, considering he made an appearance in Super Mario Galaxy movie. I'm sorry if you haven't seen it yet and I spoiled it for you. While I don't consider myself to be a die-hard Mario fan, I do have several Mario games. Games such as Super Paper Mario, Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2, Paper Mario the Origami King, Super Mario Sunshine, Super Mario 3D World, which is the game that I'm reviewing today, and a few 3DS titles. Super Mario 3D World brings in something new, yet something familiar at the same time, giving you that old school 2D platformer feel with a fresh coat of paint and new mechanics. It stays true to its original form, which is a side-scrolling platformer, while slowly introducing you to some new gameplay and some new mechanics, without the difficulty being too overwhelming. But as you progress through the game, of course the difficulty does pick up. But there are ways to circumvent the increasing difficulty. Not that it's going to make you rage quit or anything, but it does offer something to help you along the way if you continue dying. And we're going to talk about that in this review video. And of course, with every review video that I make about a video game, I must say that I did not complete this game to 100%. I am not a completionist. This is simply a casual review of Super Mario 3D World. Over the course of this review, we're going to talk about the story, the gameplay, the presentation, and the music. And then we'll wrap it all up with a water score. It's a me, Mario.
And then the Lord said,
I want to see your tiny head.
Before making an executive decision to review Super Mario 3D World, the original plan was to give a casual review of The Legend of Zelda: The Ocarina of Time. And as you can clearly see, that did not happen, and I'll explain why. I did not want to use my Nintendo 64 to capture my gameplay, because the audio and the video quality would be diminished. But then I remembered I had bought it several years ago for the Wii U Virtual Console when the Wii U shop was still a thing. So I set everything up with my capture card and I started recording my gameplay. And little did I know that the input lag from the controller to the game would be very delayed. And I did not want to deal with it, so that's when I made the decision to switch to Super Mario 3D World. Rest assured, I still have plans to review The Legend of Zelda: The Ocarina of Time, but I'm going a different route. I'm going to use the Nintendo Switch Online service with the expansion pack. Now, I have already tested it out to see how the input lag is, and it's still there. But it's nowhere near as bad as the Wii U. Now that I got that out of the way, let's go ahead and get to the topic of discussion. Super Mario 3D World. I understand that Mario is the face of Nintendo, and I also understand that Mario is the cash cow for Nintendo. However, if I were to create a top 10 list of video game characters that I like, Mario would not even be in the top 10. His brother Luigi, however, would be in the top 10. To me, I see Mario as a generic character, while Luigi, in my own opinion, is the far cooler, much better brother. And I also feel like his mustache is more well-groomed than his brother's. With that said, I must say that I played this game using Luigi, of course. I did not play as Mario, I played as Luigi. Playing as Luigi didn't change anything about the story, although it did change how I played the game, but it was nothing too dramatic. I still had all my basic controls, run and jump, and I had all the special power-ups too. Normally in this segment of the video, I often talk about the lore of the game that I'm playing, or the lore of the character, the history of the series and whatnot, but instead I'm not going to do that. Because like I said in the introduction, we all should know Mario by now. And most Mario games revolve around the same concept. Bowser does something heinous, here come the Super Mario Brothers to save the day, Bowser is defeated, and the princess is returned to the castle, or whatever it is he did is undone. I am not going to beat a dead horse, so without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into the story. Super Mario 3D World's story is not unlike most other Mario games, but I'll let you see for yourself and let the game tell the story for me. Enjoy.
What? Oh.
And there you have it, folks. It really does not get any simpler and black and white as that. Bowser invades a foreign land and kidnaps these fairies, pixies, whatever they are, to gain power to rule over this foreign land that he has invaded. Now it is up to Mario and company to save the day and save these pixies or fairies, whatever they are. And if you can't tell by the tone in which I am talking, I am minimizing the story altogether. That's because, like I said, it's really no different from any other Mario game, but that doesn't take away from the fun that I had while playing this. Nintendo really likes to pull on the heartstrings of nostalgic gamers, such as myself. Every Mario game, well not every, I would say a lot of Mario games typically have the same story. Wash, rinse, and repeat with Bowser and Mario. The concept and the story is all the same. But they release it with a different font, if that makes any sense. And the same concept applies to the Legend of Zelda franchise. It's always going to be the same thing with Princess Zelda, Link, and Ganondorf. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. In fact, it works to their advantage for these particular IPs. Unfortunately, the same thing cannot be said about the Star Fox franchise. The last official Star Fox game that we had was Star Fox Zero. And if you want to count Starlink on the Switch, although I really wouldn't consider that. That was more like a special guest appearance. Okay, me and my ADD brain have gotten way off topic right now. Our focus is Super Mario 3D World. The story is not unlike most Mario games. Here comes Bowser. Bowser does stuff. Here comes Mario and company. They fix things. Now that we've covered the story, let's go ahead and get into the gameplay segment of this video. I seem to be repeating a lot of the same thing over and over again in regard to how this game works. And what I mean by that is, of course, it's very similar to that of any other Mario game, especially in how it plays. So I'm not going to talk much about it other than say that the controls were very smooth and tight. The core concept of the game revolves around the addition of the cat suit, which of course gives you cat-like abilities. I would say probably about for the first third of the whole game, the cat suit is given to you generously. It is there almost everywhere. But as the game progresses along, the cat bell slowly diminishes and you won't be able to find it as much as you did in the beginning. It's like the game is expecting you to get better and better as you play through, forcing you to rely on your character's abilities and your own natural skill instead of relying solely on power-ups. While the game does get progressively harder as you play along, it is not a Souls game, it is not truly unforgiving. This is a Mario game. This is a children's game. It's going to give you a handicap in the event that you repetitively die on one stage. Enter the White Tanuki suit. The White Tanuki suit is an invincibility suit that grants you invulnerability in most cases, and it is given to you when you die 5 times on any given level. While it does make traversing the level slightly easier, it's not 100% invulnerability or invincibility. You can still lose a life by going into a pit of lava, falling off a cliff, or going out of bounds on a stage. I'm going to be 100% transparent here with y'all. What gave me the most difficulty was in fact not the enemies. The enemies themselves were very simple, but it was the platforming itself. Not unlike the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise, this game needed precisive platforming in order to get through certain parts of the level. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it wasn't something I was expecting from a traditional Mario game. The game wasn't too frustrating actually, but it did get to the point where I wanted to lose lives intentionally just so I can get the White Tanuki suit and have the gameplay be just slightly easier. As you can currently see in the top left corner of the screen, I'm currently sitting at over 960 lives, and I managed to get that high because of the Koopa Shell trick. I did this intentionally because I was intending on losing lives just so I can get the White Tanuki suit. Yes, I know, I'm a horrible person, I'm a horrible gamer, I never claimed to be the best, okay? The last thing I want to talk about before we move on to the next segment of this video are the controllers themselves. This game did not limit you to what controller you can use. To a certain extent, of course, you can't use the GameCube controller, even though I think the GameCube controller is the best controller ever made, but whatever. The game allowed you to use the Wii U gamepad, the Wii U Pro controller, the nunchuck and controller attachment for the Wii, or just the Wii controller itself. It was amazing. Even though I have all of them, I chose to switch between the Wii U gamepad and the Pro controller. Even though the Wii U gamepad is considered bulky by today's standards, it was still pretty decent alongside the Wii U Pro controller. I'm not a huge fan of them, but they were okay. All that to say, even though it plays very similar to that of most previous Mario titles, it didn't take away from how much fun I had. It was very, very fun. Even the inclusion of the cat suit was different, I had to say. It was very different, and overall, the controls were smooth and very tight. I didn't play as any other character besides Luigi, so I don't know how they played. But I do know that Luigi had a higher jump and had less traction in comparison to other characters. Given that this is a Mario game, it does not go for that realistic look. That's not what Nintendo's going for. But in the end, Nintendo's going to do what Nintendo wants to do. And they're going to work with the formula that has historically worked for them in the past. And that's exactly why this cartoonish plastic look with a glossy finish works so well for them, especially for Mario. I'm trying to imagine in my head if Nintendo actually decided to go with a realistic look and give Mario or Luigi a character model that was similar to that of God of War. And I'm 100% certain that somebody in this world has developed something like that. But I can't imagine that that would actually work in Nintendo's favor, considering that Nintendo is considered to be a family-friendly company. Alas, this art style works perfectly for the Mario franchise, and I really can't imagine any other way. I can try to, but it's just not gonna happen. I chose to show you guys this level because I really do believe it highlights the Wii U's capabilities and to showcase the graphical beauty that is Super Mario 3D World. What I'm going to say is probably going to be a controversial opinion for some, but I think the Wii U was severely underrated. and it is truly a very good console. And when the Switch released, I kind of feel like it was a minor downgrade, not in terms of graphically, but in terms of processing power. And I think I'm saying this because of all the bells and whistles it had going on. It was reverse compatible with the Wii, it had an SD card slot, and I just like how it looked. I thought the UI was very clean. And I'm saying all this to say that Super Mario 3D World was truly beautiful. It really was nice to look at, it was bright and colorful, and it really did keep my attention the whole time. But I think it's because I have ADD, and bright colors always get my attention. Although there really isn't a huge difference graphically in between Super Mario 3D World and most modern Mario games, such as Super Mario Odyssey, I think they all look very much alike. I'm not saying that to throw shade at any of the modern Mario games. What I'm saying is Nintendo has mastered this formula for Mario, and they're going to keep using it because it yields them great success. It just goes back to what I said earlier in this video. Nintendo's going to do what Nintendo wants to do. Coming up next, we're going to go over the music of this game.
Let's go!
Most of the levels in Super Mario 3D World have this jazzy, upbeat feel to it, and it completely matches the tone of this game. I absolutely love it. It just goes back to the whole family-friendly feel that Mario is intended to have. At least that's what I think it's intended to have. Correct me if I'm wrong, please. And then you have some OG classics making a glorious return, such as the tunnel or the cave music. I don't know exactly what this is called, but remixed, if you want to call it that. It sounds so much better for the modern era. Once again, Nintendo is staying true to themselves by not changing anything that isn't broken. Overall, I'd have to say there was no bad music in this game whatsoever. It completely matches the story and the tone of this game. The music is not going to make you get up and do a little happy dance like the music of Sonic the Hedgehog would. Not that I'm comparing it, but actually I am comparing it, so that's completely unfair. But I will say that the music does match this type of Mario game. Nice and calm with nice jazzy feel to it, while still giving it nods to its OG roots. If the music was anything else, it would not have blended together so well. The song may have been a little bit dramatic for Cat Bowser, but I love this song. It is from Sonic Generations, and I'm going to continue using this song until I find something better. Anyway, I know it seems like I was giving this game a lot of grief because it plays very similar to many other Mario titles, but on the contrary, I actually had a lot of fun playing this game. It was really a lot of fun. It really did bring me back to my childhood where games were much more simpler at the time, but at the same time, they were much more complicated. Because you had no save states, you couldn't pick up exactly where you left off if you turned the game off. What I mean by simpler is that you just put the cartridge in and you just go. You don't have to worry about loading it, you don't have to worry about installing, none of that. Just raw gaming. And I'm saying all this because in order to stay relevant in the gaming community, you have to evolve with your people. But Mario, on the other hand, has managed to stay true to its original roots, while still giving it some modern gameplay elements. Franchises like God of War have evolved from being a very linear, brutal beat-em-up style game to a semi-open world RPG, while Mario, on the other hand, has managed to stay the same, pretty much. You collect coins, collect stars, go on to the next level, beat up Bowser, save the princess, or fairies, or pixies, or whatever. It has stayed the same, and this just goes back to the whole, if it's not broken, don't fix it. Overall, I'd have to say I had a lot of fun playing Super Mario 3D World on my Wii U. And I have to say that the Wii U does not get the respect and the recognition that it truly deserves. All things considered, I will give this game a water score of 4 out of 5 bottles of water. That's all the time we have for this video. If you like what you see, please consider subscribing to the channel, drop a like, and drop a comment. I love y'all, stay hydrated, and stay tuned for my next video.